Just pulling in here to the winter pasture this morning, and I don't see any new calves, but I do see something that's got my attention. Number 48 here, when I pulled in, was laying down sort of on the edge of where everyone else is grazing. So I wouldn't say she's really separating herself from the herd, but maybe she's kind of starting to lean that way. She was watching me real close as I drove in, which is kind of not normal behavior for them to do. And then when she did get up, the first thing she did was sniff the ground, take a few steps, sniff the ground, always having her head down but not actually eating. Those are all really subtle signs that labor is probably close. So I won't be surprised if she's got a calf by the end of the day. I could be wrong, but hey, we'll find out. Just pulling into the ranch here, and I think I see 2 new calves out there. I had another one yesterday, and I think I see 4 out there, which would mean we got 2 last night. One of the cows laying out there with a new calf was number 59, a cow that I've been expecting to have one any day. So we'll call hers number 4. And I can't tell who the other cow is. I think it might be 65, but I'm gonna bring my pen out there and we'll just make the tag in the field. Well, everybody's up moving around. Now's honestly not really a great time to try to catch these calves. So I think I'm gonna be working around here most of the day. I'll just kind of have to keep an eye on them and wait till I can catch them sleeping. But I'm surprised, as young as they are, they're both pretty lively. So we need to catch them while they're napping. In this shot, you can see the little black calf. That one was born yesterday out of the heifer 2307, which is awesome. We got one of our first calf heifers out of the way. And with the birth of that calf, I've now got calves that have been sired by each one of my 3 bulls. That black one there that came out of the heifer would be one of Bismarck's offspring. Obviously, these gray calves came out of Rivet, and then the black one over at the winter pasture came out of Little Boy. I went into town yesterday and I got a couple of these springs, so I'd like to try to get this manure spreader back together and get that little job finished up. Oh, hey kitty. You must be hungry, huh? Looks like I need to serve breakfast first. There you go. It's kind of funny the system these cats have worked out. We got the one that is brave enough to come up to me and essentially ask to get the dish filled. Then you got the other black one sits on top of the stack and kind of watches all of this happen. And then the 2 brown ones don't show up until I leave. Anyway, today I'd like to get the manure spreader put back together, and I've been thinking about adding some sides onto it so that I can squeeze a little bit more in there. A lot of people suggested I do that, and the only reason I haven't done it to this point is that I'm worried the extra weight might be a little bit too much for this drive system, and we might end up breaking chains, or worse yet, gears. Chains I can replace. The gears might not be so easy. But still, because the stuff that I'm spreading is mostly dry and lighter than what wet stuff would be, I think I can probably get away with doing it, and I think I can save myself a lot of time as well. When I was back at the manure spreader, I did not have an angle finder or a bevel gauge or anything like that, but what I did have was some old baling wire. So I used this piece of baling wire and bent it along the angle of the lip of the manure spreader, and then I can bring this back to the shop and transfer this angle to my pieces of angle iron. But first, I need to figure out what it actually is. And I can do that with the speed square. Kind of. So this wire is landing pretty close to 35 degrees. It's probably not exactly that, but you know, we're not dealing with machinist tolerances here. Close enough is going to be close enough. These little pieces of angle iron are 13 inches long. That's just what I had in my scrap pile. So I know that the boards I'm going to use are 2x8s, which means that they probably measure somewhere around 7.5. So I think what I'll do is I'll make my angle at 7 inches, and then the remaining tail on the angle iron is the part that will bolt to the spreader itself. And that may not make sense, but I think if you just watch, it will. And since I want a 35-degree angle, I'm gonna set my little bevel gauge here to, what is it set to? 17.5 degrees roughly. So that'll give me a 17.5-degree angle on one side of the triangle and a 17.5-degree angle on the other. Putting those together should bring this into 35. Well, we're pretty close. Let me repeat that 3 more times, then I'll pick you back up. Let's clamp these things on the spreader and see how the angle looks. Yeah, let's see. Probably want these about there, I guess. To me, they appear to be leaning in a little bit, which, you know, is probably not a huge deal. And there's a decent chance that once we get this filled up and there's some weight pushing on them, that they'll push out a little bit and be straight. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, you know, and this is about what I can expect for throwing these together in the shop with scrap metal as sort of a last-minute project. But let's go ahead and get them bolted to the spreader, get some boards attached, and see how everything looks. And then I'm optimistic that I might even get to try to fill this thing up and run it today. There's actually already some holes here in the spreader. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody already has done this before in the past. This clamp's gonna kind of be in the way, but maybe not. I've got this side on there, went on easy enough, and I decided to go ahead down here at the end and cut this angle so that it joined up real nice, and that way if in the future I decide this works so good that I want it to work even better, I can pretty easily just add another layer of boards, and it should meet right up to this hoop. And I mean, I won't say double the capacity of this thing, but it'll be pretty close. So next is to do the other side, and I've got the board sitting here on my tailgate. The only bad thing about the board on this side is that it's actually 2 pieces. I did not have a scrap piece. I think that's about 7 feet there. I didn't have one 7 feet long, so I've got 2 pieces together that should be about that. And, you know, it ought to be fine. Well, there you have it. I don't know how great it looks, but I think it's going to be perfectly functional. And like I mentioned before, it's going to be really easy to add layers of boards if I want to make it taller, which I'm already feeling like maybe I do. And I would love to fill this thing up and get started, but as I've been working on it, I noticed another little problem, and that is that it looks like we lost half of the master link on this drive chain here. So I'll have to run back to the shop. I think I have another master link for that type of chain. It's kind of a weird chain, but I think I do have one. So I'll have to go back and check and see before we can do anything with the manure spreader. I think I want to try to see if I can get tags in these new calves that we had this morning. From what I can see, the mothers are still right there with them, but they are laying down. So if they're asleep, there's a chance I might be able to jump on them and get it done, but we'll have to see. That's it, we're done. Let's get you back with your mama. Go this way, go this way, go this way. No, go this way. Go this way. There you go, there you go. There you go, you almost had it. There. Together again. Well, we got 1 out of 2. I mean, that's not terrible. It's not as good as I was hoping to do. Yeah, I got that other one up and kind of agitated, and I think the thing to do with the other calf is to come back this evening and maybe I can catch it, you know, laying down, and I can get it then. I have to say, it is nerve-wracking when you got a real protective mother like that, and I feel a lot better when I've got a fence dividing us. But you know, that's just not always the case. That's not always an option. That time it was. Remember when I gave you an ear tag? You didn't even care. So I think the thing to do here is to get the manure spreader hooked up to the 8N so it's all ready to go. And then we'll run back over to the winter pasture, check on that cow that I was eyeing this morning, and I can go get some dinner after that, and then this evening we'll spread some more manure. Right here ought to be a good spot. I just need to remember to get that master link. I believe the cow in question is number 48. I know she's one of the red cows, and we'll see if we can find her. I mean, we'll go look at everybody while we're here, of course, but she's the one that I kind of want to look at first. Well, there she is. Nothing going on, but you know, hey, maybe tonight. Well, I guess there's nothing going on over here. I got all the cows laying there in the shade, and everybody's here accounted for, and nobody's really acting any different. So I guess I was seeing things this morning, but you know, like I say, if that cow has a calf tomorrow morning, I won't be a bit surprised. First things first, we're gonna replace this master link, and I'm just gonna replace the whole thing, even though I only need half of it technically. But I am replacing the whole thing because I don't know if this got bent or messed up or what happened when it lost the piece. Yeah, it is a little goofed up. You guys probably won't be able to see it on the GoPro, but the pins are definitely spread. All right, hopefully it stays on. Well, it is kind of hard to tell if I am getting more in or not. It certainly looks like more, and you know, it's kind of overflowing the raised side, so it almost has to be more, right? Anyway, let's go spread it. Looks like it's gonna be more of the same from here on out, so I'll pick you guys up when I'm done. I think that about does it. It's, I've still got, you know, you can see like kind of these piles here right up against the fence. I don't feel comfortable getting any closer than that with the loader because I don't even think I would feel the fence before it was too late. So what I plan to do is to come in here with the smaller tractor and the box scraper and pull this stuff off of the fence line, and I'll probably drag it outside and find somewhere to pile it up. And then I think that is the compost that I'm going to use at home in our garden. The MT7-101 is a big tractor, but it has never felt as big as it did on this job because it is tight in here. And there's only just barely enough room for that tractor to get turned around. Guaranteed has a calf tonight. And I don't know what got into these two. They've just been going at it here for the last 10 minutes or so. Looks like Rivet still got him handled. Well, I guess that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.